It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 183 today. Really glad that you're with us, ready to dive in and enjoy clothes-free living for all of the right reasons for the next hour. So come on in. The pool is great. The hot tub is fired up. Guess who is operating the grill today? None other than Christopher Mitchell. Chris Mudwalker does his own show on naturism. Glad to have Mudwalker here, firing up the grill. Fruits and vegetables off to the right, cold drinks off to the left, hot drinks inside. And when you go outside the pool area, we have a hammock, we have a reader's library, we have bocce ball, we have putting greens. And you come back in, we have the cigar bar plus extra chairs, towels, lotion. We have everything you need for the next hour, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. Well, on today's show, part 2 of my interview with Mitch London, the former ANNR president, now the secretary-treasurer of ANNR, and of course Lisa Monroe, who is walking through the door right now as we speak. In fact, I think I hear some music behind me, and let's listen. Oh yes, that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one and only, the one of a kind, the completely clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm fine, but you really rolled that out quite a bit there, didn't you?
I think I'm just excited. I want to say something to you right out of the gate before we go on, if that's okay.
Okay. Oops.
Okay. And that is this. In heaven's name, why do you play this game? Hang on to your love. Okay, now we can move on with the rest of the show.
Oh, what?
Well, the other day I told you I was fixated on the music of Sade.
Yes.
And those are the opening lyrics to one of her songs, Hang On to Your Love. So
yes.
It's in my head, pumping away over and over. So I just thought I better get that out and put it out there for whatever good it did.
Okay, because that song you sent me and said, listen to this. It's fabulous. Mm-hmm. And so I listened, and then the next song was Smooth Operator, which is my favorite song of hers, one of my top favorite songs ever. Wow. And now I can't get that out of my head. So back at you.
Actually, her real name is Helen Adu, A-D-U. Right. She was born in Nigeria, but raised in the UK from age 4 on. And then she actually went to college to be a fashion designer. And I guess she made her mark in that field. Like she was an up-and-coming one to watch out for in the fashion design world, and then fell into the music thing. And then look what happened to her. You know, she's considered one of the most influential pop artists of all time. She's amazing. I mean, I could listen to her for hours. You know, I love jazz, and I love jazz singers, especially female jazz singers. And she's one of the ones I can just listen and listen and listen and never tire of hearing her. Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's your quote for the day. Yes, sir. Thank you. Use it, however you want. Just in heaven's name, why do you play this game? I should ask you that question more often, but I won't. I'm digressing. We'll move on. You're digressing a lot. You're getting yourself into a little deeper hole each time you do that. So go. Let's go ahead. All right. Well, we're trying video again, and this time done the right way. Clothes-free living for all the right reasons. So we hope the video comes out, and if so, we hope you're enjoying it to the listeners. Yes. And as everybody knows, we do have a Patreon page here, and we gave up paid work. Yes, we really did. I think we've said that on every show since we got a Patreon page. Not the brightest business decision of all time, but we didn't do it for business. We did it to promote naturism and clothes-free living for all the right reasons.
Exactly.
but there are expenses associated with the show. And we've asked you to step forward and help us out, and you have, and we appreciate you very much. And Lisa Monroe, on every show, we try to highlight two people who have recently joined the ranks of the PPPs, the Paying Patreon Peeps. Who do we have today?
We have Thomas and David. And so, welcome aboard, both of you. And we're really happy to have you.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, David. And thank you to all of our PPPs. And the video goes out to just the top level of the PPPs, the patron level. And so if you want to join that, you get video, you get all kinds of goodies. You get the shows a day early, nothing wrong with that. And we thank all of our PPPs very, very much. We appreciate you more than you know.
Absolutely.
Lisa, how about merchandise? What's new and good and great in that little area of your life?
Well, we have, again, we have our undercover NNN merch that you can wear anywhere you choose to, and no one will know you're a naturist, but you will know you're supporting naturism because it just has our little red leaf on it. So, and all you need to do is go to Naked Nudist and naturist.com, click on the NNN shop, and everything's there for you to take a quick peek at and see what you want.
All right, that sounds good. And I'm of the belief, go bold. The idea of the insignia on a towel, so only you know about the naturism thing. I say just go bold. Get the biggest naked nudist and naturist towel you can find and go for it. But no, I'm just kidding. I understand. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just can't, right?
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes we can't. So therefore, we need to be cognizant of that and let people, it feels good to know that you have that symbol in your hands, even though you can't really tell anybody. Some go, oh, it's a pretty cup. I love that leaf on it. Hey, yeah, isn't it cool? Yeah,
Let me
me
tell you
too.
all about it. That's right. That's your
And it might be
opening.
an icebreaker. You never
Well,
know.
that's what I mean. That's your
Yep,
opening to bring it up.
exactly.
Well, the other day we brought up a brand new movie coming out by Tim Chismar called Naked as Created. And he has a partner, Matt Levi. I'm not sure how he pronounces it. Sorry, Matt. It's probably Matt Levy. And he wrote a note to Tim. Tim sent the note to us. And part of that has to do with the Naked as Created will be released on April 28th this year. So it's coming out like really soon. And part of the note is, as we suspected, we did have some pushback from TVOD. It's television on demand, I think. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some of the platforms for obvious reasons, the nudity.
Exactly.
But spent a week in appeals to Amazon, and happy to say that I finally got them to turn around their decision, and they will now formally be offering Naked as Created as a digital rental purchase along with DVD on the release date. How about that? So
I
on
think that
Amazon, you can buy or rent Naked as Created. No more blocking by Amazon. There's a step forward for you.
it certainly is a step forward. And, it amazes me because most of these platforms are, they have nudity within their shows, a lot of them. Sometimes more graphic violence than nudity that's maybe less appealing. So I don't know why they would have a problem, but at least Mac got it done. And that's an amazing thing and a great move for Tim in this movie.
Yeah, very, very much so. And as I recall the story, because we interviewed Pastor Jim before,
Mm-hmm.
we've interviewed Tim before about this. And it's, Jim was a pastor at a church.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody came to him and said, "Hey, can you talk to my relative? They're nudists, and they're probably going to go to hell in a handbasket. Can you talk to them and tell them this is the wrong way?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely. Give me about a week. I want to study some of the Bible verses so I'm armed and loaded and ready for bear when I go in." And so, as he was studying the Bible over the next week, even as a pastor, he had missed the key passages. Oh no, nudism, nudity, naturism, clothes for a living for all the right reasons, is supposed to be the way we should be because that's how we were created to be. We were born that way. We were intended to live clothes free. That's why it's called Naked as Created, the name of the movie. And he became a naturist as well. He and his wife, while he was a pastor, he became a naturist. Eventually, word got out, and I believe he lost his position in the church. Like, you're one of those naked weirdos. You're out of here, pal. And this is a church that promotes the Bible. And they didn't know it either. Well, heck, Jim didn't know it until he delved into it specifically for that reason to find the arguments against it. He realized, oh, all the arguments are actually for it. So now he's going on. I don't know if he read or wrote a book on this or just wrote the story or has told the story. I don't know the background, but Tim got a hold of this and wrote the movie script. And in the movie, a number of people star or are featured who have been on the show before. Obviously, Tim is one of them. Kate Lane, who did a series of TV shows with Tim that are on demand as well. Christopher Mitchell, who is better known around these parts as Mudwalker.
Yes.
That's his
Good
nickname.
guy.
He does a lot of naturism, biblical stuff. Dan Hawkins, you know him.
Very
Uh,
well.
naturist fiction author, also the current president of ANNR Southwest. And who else do we have? We have Cindy Tendick from Shangri-La Ranch and her husband, Jeff Tendick. And anybody else you noticed on that list we've had here before?
Melody Munson and Cynthia Holback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cynthia Holbach's the president of the Naturist Society Foundation. Melody has been on the show before, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to get the movie here. We've already seen it, but we're going to support Tim and his endeavors and purchase it around here. So
Absolutely.
Naked as Created comes out on April 28th. Lisa, are you looking forward to it or what?
Oh, I sure am. We did see the rough cut, and it's it's a great story because it's a true story, and it shows how naturists can persevere and reach what they want if they just keep at it. So I think it's a great story and a great thing that Tim's brought to bring Pastor Jim's story to light.
Yeah, and they had a lot of difficulty making this movie.
Oh,
They
boy.
started off in California, I think in or near Los Angeles, and right after they started, the Los Angeles fires hit, and it was so bad they had to leave. They had to leave the area. Okay, we got all the crew together, we all this equipment. Now what do we do? Because they're on tight timelines. And the Shangri-La Ranch in Arizona said, come to us. We'll
Yep.
let you use
Do
our
the rescue.
facility and film here. And so they loaded all the trucks and trailers and headed off to Arizona. Not a short ride, by the way. It's
No.
several hours long. Got there and set up and did a lot of filming there. Been a lot of trials and tribulations, but they got it done. And very impressive, very hard work on the part of everybody. And looking forward to it. And again, that's April 28th. So coming up soon, just around the corner.
Absolutely. Just a matter of about 3 weeks. And I think it's just a really great thing. And I hope everyone supports him. This kind of thing, whether it's your cup of tea to watch a movie or not, but this effort by naturists to bring naturism into the public eye, people will see that on Amazon is a very good thing. And I think that, Tim needs to be supported, and kudos to the cast who came in and did it, because these are, for the most part, not professional actors. There are a couple who are, but, they're not professional actors. So they, came in and said, hey, we'll do this. And I think it's terrific.
Yeah, I think the daughter of Pastor Jim plays the wife of Pastor Jim in the movie.
She
Is
was
that right?
good.
Yeah.
She was very good in that role.
Yeah. And it wasn't planned that way.
No.
Somebody got sick and had to leave the set. And so she took over. So
Mhm.
the real life daughter of Pastor Jim played Pastor Jim's wife in the movie. So again, looking forward to seeing this April 28th.
Absolutely.
And Lisa, before we go on, we should probably show off our mugs here, Naked
Oh,
Nudists and
yes.
Naturist coffee mugs.
Here it is. See?
Oh, the coffee just tastes so blasted good out of these things. I wonder, maybe there is something to it scientifically. No, I'm just kidding. Don't take that to the bank. It's
No, but
just
I'll
our
tell you
little
something.
way of. Go ahead.
I'm pleased, because when we looked at these mugs, we kind of, just bought them sight unseen from a really good company, but they are nicely balanced and they're very nicely printed, and so they're a good quality mug for the price, and so I'm really happy with it. Besides, it says Naked Nudist and Naturist on it, so
Yeah,
what more could we want?
right. Just in case you're listening and you're seeing the video and you say, what's the name of the show again? Well, here it is, Naked
Nudist.
Nudists and Naturists.
Oh, you did that so well.
And there's the little red, yeah. Maybe I should have been a model. I should have been a coffee mug model. Then again, maybe not. I don't know why you're laughing. Why are you laughing at that?
Never mind.
Okay.
I'll be good.
All right. You probably thought of something funny that happened years ago. It had nothing to do with me being a model.
Yeah, of course not.
Okay.
Never mind. Let's go on.
Well, the other day we went through some podcast platform comments that we received, and we said we're going to save a few and maybe get to them today. Well, we're getting in to them today. The first one is from My Chicken Soup. I'm guessing that's not the person's real name. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No, no, that's the title. I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
the title of it. I guess he likes us because if we're his chicken soup, then that means chicken soup is for the soul. So
That's
hey,
right.
I like that.
That's right. It's actually from someone who calls himself or herself or themselves RV Hiker. The title is My Chicken Soup, and I'll go ahead and read it. The best podcast out there, period. And I swear we did not write this.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. Listening to Frank and Lisa is as comforting as a bowl of warm chicken soup on a cold winter day. I don't care who you are, listen to it. It's sunshine and therapy for the masses.
Wow.
Keep up the amazing work! Exclamation point. So RV Hiker, thank you very much. I don't know what else to say. That's some of these things are overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, we're a cup of warm chicken soup on a cold winter day. The best podcast out there. Period. Any thoughts on this one?
These people amaze me because we'd never really expected these kind of comments, and to get them is just it validates what we do, and we appreciate people feeling that way. And yeah, I think it's terrific, and it's just great.
Yeah. The next one is from someone who calls himself, herself, themselves nudist.
I like that.
It's
Nood.
Yeah, Noodist, nudist.
Mm-hmm.
Fun, lighthearted, and relevant! Exclamation point. Why don't you go ahead and read this one?
I love this show, and that's love in all caps and lots of exclamation points.
Yeah, at least 5.
Yes. Frank, Lisa, and Jennifer do a fantastic job promoting the clothes-free lifestyle and never seem to run out of guests and topics.
Another exclamation point at the end.
Yep, very
That's
much
right.
so.
You know, Jennifer keeps getting mentioned, yet she's never been on the show. Are you working on that behind the scenes to get her in here at least? To say hello to
I've
her?
tried, but Jennifer's, very how do I say this politely? Somewhat stubborn. She has her beliefs and her attitudes about what she wants out of life, and she's just not into being on the air or being on video. So it's not her thing. So, we keep trying, and hopefully one day we'll be able to convince her to at least come on and say hi, if
Yeah.
nothing else. But we're trying. But we have to respect her too.
She actually pulled the I'm shy card,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to quickly look at her and say, don't even try that. And she
No.
started laughing. So, no,
No,
what
no,
I
no.
mean, I'm shy about being on camera or being on audio because she's not a shy person, at least not around here.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
All right.
But she knows us too. So that, a lot of people are introverts except for the people that they know. So,
That's true.
but she's pretty set in her ways. So we're going to respect that. And, but she knows she can come on anytime she wants.
All right. And the next one is from, looks like retireologist. So somebody who studies retiring. I don't know, but the title of this message is Love This Podcast. I used to have to wait months for new podcasts on this topic. I find your guests fascinating, and Frank and Lisa make us feel like we're old friends. My wife and I have been visiting several clothing optional resorts and clubs for a couple of years now, and podcasts were a big reason my wife is comfortable with naturism. Thank you for your hard work! Exclamation point. Well, that actually sounds like I did write it because I used to I used to wait for months for the next episode as well, and that's what prompted this whole. Why don't we just do our own so we can get regular episodes? But we did not write that.
No.
I don't even know who these people are because they don't use their real names or real email addresses that we could look up. So
we'd love to know just to say thanks, but
Yeah.
but we say thanks anyway. So this is really nice.
That's right. All right, let's do one more. The title is Naked Nudist and Naturist. Well, that's perfect. It's from a person who refers to himself or herself as 01649. Hope he's not a prisoner.
I doubt that very seriously.
Maybe a prisoner to clothes. That'd be about it.
Yes, yes.
You want to go ahead and read that one?
Okay. If you are a nudist and enjoy hearing the stories from other nudists in the world, then this is a podcast for you. They keep it clean and fun. And as they often say, they talk about being naked.
Well, there you go. That's exactly it. And we thank you, 01649. And these comments do make our day. We'll admit it. As hard as we work, it's just nice to that people understand why we're doing it, which we already knew because the numbers continue to grow. And but it's nice to hear it every once in a while too. Let's do one more, and this is from Berserko Clint.
Okay, I think I want to know this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Informative, entertaining, and respectful! Exclamation point. And he or she wrote, I very much look forward to each new episode. Well done with great guests and all things going on in the naturist community. Berserko Clint, we thank you very much. And we thank all of our people who have written in. And again, we didn't write these. We don't know who these people are. It's not a bad idea if you want to write to us, say, hey, I'm Berserko Clint. Hey, I'm 01649. I'm RV Hiker, and so on and so forth. We'd like to know who you are. You don't have to. If you want to remain anonymous, that's okay, too. But, Lisa, we appreciate these comments very much, don't we?
We sure do. And it again, we've never been, either one of us, people who needed to be positively reinforced by anyone, but hearing these things about how people are reacting to the show are just terrific.
I wanted to get into one last thing here, and because we are such a big, big voice in the naturism community, we're heard all over the world. People know us. They flock to us. Downloads and listeners numbers are way up. So we have a big voice, which means when we speak, we are heard. But we also take that very seriously. We will never use it or abuse it for any negative reason because there is no negativity in naturism as far as we're concerned. Other people, different story. That's a topic for another day. We just want to keep things positive here. But something has come up recently that I'm just going to put it out there as a question to the ANNR community. We have had 3 separate answers from 3 separate people on the membership numbers of ANNR. At the February midwinter meeting, whatever it was called, the president said they got, I think, is it 2,700 more people? No, 2,400. 2,405 new members. Well, I thought, that's fantastic. That is great. And she said it on our show, too, confirmed. Well, then somebody else of prominence who's been on the show last week and today said that might have included renewals. Okay, well, that's 2 different answers. And then a third person you will hear from a bit down the road said, that's not true. Yeah, we got 2,405 more, but we lost more than 2,405. So the actual real life total has gone down. I don't know which answer is true. They can't all 3 be true. So I'm just putting it out there to the ANNR community. You want to write in and just tell us, hey, here's the actual number. Here's where we were a year ago. Here's where we are now. And then we'll put that on the air. But to have 3 separate answers, as listeners have told us, it comes off as being deceptive. And we don't want that from anybody. I'm sure it was not intentional. Just let us know what the actual number is, and we'll put it out there. Lisa, any thoughts on that?
Well, the important thing here is that ANNR needs new members. And over the past several years, part of it, I think, was the pandemic that came along, and some of it was just, natural attrition, but they've lost membership and they are in danger, as the president has said this, vocally, publicly. They're in danger of this organization going away. And that is not an organization that needs to go away. Mm-hmm. It needs strong leadership, and it needs, good focus on what members need, and not just the legal side, which is extremely important, but really take a look and see what members need. So I think it's important that, that we know where they are so we can, say, hey, you guys need to go join. And that's the best thing to do, but we don't know.
No, and the current president said, it might have been while she was running for office. I'm not sure if she said it since she took office, but coming up to the 95th anniversary, she wasn't convinced ANNR would see the 100th anniversary, might be defunct by then.
Sad.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're not involved in the nitty-gritty day-to-day operations. That's why we're throwing it out there. We got 3 separate answers from 3 significant people, including the president. Which answer is true? Just let us know, and we'll put it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And Lisa Monroe, with that, we are going to head for the hills. I have part 2 of my interview coming up. If you stay naked as a jaybird until the end of the show, we'll have you back in. Is that a deal?
And I'll be back, I promise.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
The very terrific Lisa Monroe as she goes dancing out of the studio, and we appreciate Lisa Monroe very much. Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 183 today. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great clothes-free day for all of the right reasons. Sitting back, relaxing, and enjoying the show. Now let's get to part 2 of my interview with former ANNR president, currently Secretary-Treasurer, Mitch London. Well, Tim is basically the ringleader, right, of that movie?
I think so. Yeah, he kind of got that ball rolling, and that's pretty cool. I remember Dan talking about it, years ago, and they said they've been working on it for a long time, and they finally got a script, and they finally got people to work it. They got a cast, and this, that, and the other. And, it's just one of those things, people think, oh, they see a movie. It's like, oh, they just probably did that last year or something. It's like, well, they might have been working on a movie, for several years. I've got a relative of mine who's an editor, and she's done several, big movies. And one of them that she worked on was a movie called Boyhood by Richard Linklater. And that one, is an interesting story. But to me, being a camera guy and a behind the scenes kind of video person, the thing to me that made that fascinating was the fact that they started the movie when the kid was, I think, in his teens, or 10, 12, 15, whatever years old, and then they stopped. They waited 5 years and then shot some more. Then they stopped and waited till he was going to college, and the whole movie spans literally 17 years or whatever, and instead of getting different actors, they used the same actors. They just waited 10 years to shoot the next scene.
Okay.
And it's so, and so it's like this movie took them, whatever, 15 years to make, and, it's like, just imagine, something happens, the guy loses a hand or something, and now you got to somehow work that into the story, or the person doesn't want to do the movie anymore. So we got to write them out. So it's just this crazy behind the scenes stuff that I love, kind of hearing about, but, shows how, long a process making a movie can be,
Oh, yeah. Well, for whatever reason, it probably says more about my personality than I even want to know. But if I go to the theater, when a movie ends, most people get up. Well, okay, that's it. It says the end. I'm out of here, while the credits are playing. I always read the credits just to see, mostly for the music, if there's anybody I recognize, because that's part of my world too. But and to hear the music, there's always music playing during the credits. And when they get to the part about editing, there are sometimes literally hundreds of people listed off. So it's not just one person in a back room for 5 minutes. Okay, it's edited, we're done. It's hundreds of people, each with a specific task or whatever they do in that world. So it's a monumental undertaking. And Tim, I don't know how many, I don't think he had a lot of people. He has a crew. I don't know how big the crew is, but I think he wrote the script, and then the editing, takes the better part of a year, even with a small crew.
Yeah.
So it's not something you do just on Sunday afternoon and call it good, right?
Right, because you gotta edit the show, and then like, okay, it's done. Let's show it to a few people, see what they say. Oh well, we didn't see that. We got to go back. Okay, they go back and re-edit. That's a lot of times you don't see or hear that they do test audiences. Even the big movies, they'll do a test audience, and they'll show it to them, and they'll make changes. Of course, one of my favorite films back in the day was Little Shop of Horrors, based on the stage play. And when they did the movie with Rick Moranis and Ellen Greene, they did the ending like the play, where the plant takes over the world. And they showed that to the audience members, and they were sad, they were depressed. They were like, oh, the guy didn't get the girl. The plant won and ate everybody, basically. And, because I remember seeing that play when I was like 13 years old in New York, off Broadway. I still have the T-shirt from it.
All
right. So they were like, oh gosh, well, let's reshoot. And so there's this particular scene in the movie where Rick Moranis' character is picking up Ellen and to do something, and that's where they started reshooting, and that's where they cut from the old to the new footage, and they reshot it, and the guy gets the girl and singing happy joy, and all that kind of stuff. So that that's kind of thing where literally the test audiences can change the outcome of a movie. So I love the behind the scenes movie stuff. That's I'll when I buy movies, I'll look at the back and say, okay, is there any good behind the scenes or bonus features and such. I don't want just the movie. I want I like the little nerdy stuff. I've like the Lord of the Rings. I've watched Lord of the Rings probably a dozen times, each time listening to different commentary tracks or behind the scenes shots and all this. So
I like the bonus footage, but I also like outtakes. Not everybody prints those, but sometimes those are drop dead hilarious.
Oh yeah, and it's hilarious how sometimes movies that have been around for decades, they had them, they just didn't think, well, why, let's put these at the end of the movie. It was years later when I found out Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks film, had outtakes.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
And they finally put them on like the 25th anniversary edition. Of slip ups and goofs and such. They made gag reels for the cast and crew, that they could watch when they finish it, making the thing. So that's where those started. And then somebody kind of leaked. Well, I guess when the internet came out, they got leaked, and people were like, "Oh my God, these are great," and so they started putting them in movies. And a lot of times, you see them, they'll be running the credits, and they'll be off the side of the screen. They'll have little goofs and slip ups. Of course, I used to like to read the credits because some of the old comedy movies would actually put little fake credits in there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the old Naked Gun films.
Yeah.
They would just put some ice cream wrangler or something in there and somebody's name, just to see if anybody's paying attention to the words.
Well, I would be one of those people. Sometimes I'm the only one sitting there watching the credits.
Well, now that they do the bonus stuff at the end of the credits, like they do in all the Marvel movies, people are sitting down. It used to be they get up and they get out as fast as they can. Now they're all sitting down going, okay, what are they going to tease? What extra little bonus feature are they going to show that happened in the movie? And of course, I think one of the funnier ones was the first Iron Man, or no, it was the first, I forget which one it was, but they'd all just done all the fighting. And in the movie, they had said, hey, let's go get some shawarma after this. And so at the very end of the movie, they get to the end credit, and it cuts the 5 superheroes, and they're just sitting in the restaurant just eating. Not even dialogue. They're just like, eating shawarma, So,
well, most people don't realize because they're not behind the scenes. They just see what they see on the screen. They accept it and move on. But a lot of scenes, in most scenes these days, have music going on, or they have extraneous crowd noise going on. Well, when you're in the studio, you don't get any of that. You're acting your scene, no music, no noise. And a lot of times they'll even be dancing to music, but they don't hear the music. They just say, here's the beat, start moving. And so they're dancing around and not hearing any music. And then they plug the music in after the fact with the editors, because plugging in or having the music play while they're doing the scene would create havoc with the soundboard and everything else. So they just do things a section at a time. And the finished product looking like, okay, this disco tune is happening. They're moving and grooving. This must have been a lot of fun. But it's totally different when you actually do it as opposed to what you see on screen, right?
Oh yeah, and I mean, other movies I've seen, you see the behind the scenes stuff, and there's maybe somebody with a boombox that has a concept of the music, and so they're playing a little something that some of the people can hear. Another great example that I love, again going back to Little Shop of Horrors, is the plant, when it was the giant plant. For those that are familiar with the film, the giant plant was all hydraulics, and there's like a dozen people, these giant levers moving it to make it move around. But the problem is they wanted the plant to sing, and not only just sing, but they also wanted it to sing with Rick Moranis on screen at the same time. So they couldn't just animate. There wasn't really good animation. So they did it all mechanically, but it was so hard to move these giant levers to get the plant to sing in time. They actually on set slowed the music down to like half speed. And so the plant could do its mouth movements, and then they sped it back up to normal, and it looked good. But then there was parts where Rick and the plant were doing it at the same time. So Rick had to slow down and make his mouth movements, exaggerated in order to fit in. And then when it sped up, it looked normal. So a lot of, real thinking going on. So yeah, behind the scenes stuff that to me, like I say, is always fascinating.
Yeah,
And
well,
maybe that's why I'm in ANNR. I like the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know,
Well, the expression is seeing how the sausage is made. You're right there
Oh
on the
yeah.
ground floor. Oh, this is what happens. Whereas, in terms of sausage, people just go to the grocery store, pick something off the shelf, and don't give it two thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, back to the Jim Moore thing.
Yes.
Hopefully that'll be huge, and hopefully that'll have a big benefit to
I think so.
makers.
I
And
hope so. Yeah.
yeah,
I think that'd be great. All that work and
yeah,
all the stuff he's been doing and maybe lead to other things, which would be great. Again,
yeah,
more things just to say, oh, look, nudism. It's not just weird people. It's just people.
yeah. And that's it. And the more of us who are out there saying it or writing it or whatever we do for the community, the more of us doing something, the better it is, as opposed to just a few people. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that. We're talking to Mitch London this morning, former president of the American Association for Nude Recreation, but he couldn't stay away, and we wanted him back. So he's a secretary treasurer now. One job wasn't enough. Now he's doing two jobs at once. And Mitch, I want to get back to ANNR in just a couple of moments, but let's take a slight detour. You have this show, I think it's called This Dude Cooks in the Nude, and you put videos out, you're cooking different dishes. And we talked about that before. In fact, I think we devoted an entire interview to your show back in 2024. Yeah. But YouTube recently took it down. What the heck is going on with these people?
Yeah, I had thought, hey, YouTube is a great place to get more followers and viewers and such. And so I originally, about maybe a year ago, I put out some videos. And I had blocked out any frontal nudity because YouTube does have strict rules, but they say nudity is allowed if it's educational, this, that, and the other. I guess if you're a new mother and you're showing how to breastfeed a baby, that's perfectly great and educational. But of course, I've seen things on there. It's like, that's not educational. That's just basically pornography. So I figured, well, if I can be less than lewd than that, cooking a show in the nude should be okay. And then like I said, I just block out anything that might offend, hopefully. And then it got banned within a week. And so I was like, okay, fine. I let it rest. And then I was like, well, I'm going to try it again. And, I got another account and started it up again, and it was going real good. I got like 10, 12, 15 episodes in. And then all of a sudden, one day after, I put one show up, it just said, we're blocking your account from ban. I'm like, well, why? They don't give you a reason. They just say for violating our policy. And then in the appeal, I try to quote their policy where it says it's okay, if it's not this, this, and this, but it is this, this, and this. And it's a computer looking at it, and it doesn't, care. So I think if I could actually get to a human being, which they don't want to give you a human being, it's kind of like, calling customer service, you'll never find a human being anymore. But if I could actually get to a person and say, here's this, and show them that it's just a cooking show, I just happen to not be wearing clothes, That's the only difference. If I had clothes on, if I had a Speedo swimsuit, of course, when you wear things like a Speedo swimsuit, that's kind of highlighting an area. So that's technically, in a sense, more sexualized than being completely naked.
I agree. Yeah.
So, I'd have to wear, I guess, a robe or something, or welding outfit to be safe, not get banned. Because like I say, if I just had something on, it would have been perfectly fine. They wouldn't have had a problem, because I've never had anybody complain.
No.
So I don't know, but yeah, so they banned it twice, and now I'm just kind of like, you know what, I don't need YouTube. I can deal without it. I've got my website, and people can watch the whole show there. And my whole hope was to get people to go from YouTube and algorithms, because I had a guy had a shaving channel, and he he's been doing it for several years, and he would kind of just stare into the shaving mirror and just talk and shave with these fancy razors, and then after years, he'd get companies, they'd send him, here, try this razor, and he'd get free things and stuff like that. And so he had a whole shaving channel, which was kind of cool. And then he mentioned me, that I was a friend of his, and I did a show, a nude cooking show, and so I got a few people from there. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, and then I get every now and again I got a comment. One of them was like, I don't know how the algorithm, suggested this channel to me, but it was actually kind of cool. They show my show. And then all of a sudden it just disappears. And so nobody knows why. I don't get a chance to explain myself what happened. They just ban you and drop you. So I'm like, okay, fine. I've tried twice. I don't know if I'm going to go for the third time as the charm. It might take me another year, but considering I literally started this during the pandemic in 2020, and so now it's 2026. So it's been 5-6 years now, and it's just like, where did the time go?
Oh, that's for sure.
Well,
in your show, because we watched most of the episodes here, as you said, things are blocked out, so there's no actual nudity that would, in quotation marks, offend people, right? It's it's more implied nudity than anything else, as I recall. On the YouTube.
On the YouTube, yeah, on the YouTube. I have a little floating logo that blocks out the genital region on the front, and the back it's just a butt, and it's people see those more on the beach all day long. It's like what I've got is not going to scare anybody. I see that on billboard ads, or there's. The shoot just, recently the Super Bowl happened, and there were ads on there talking about, shaving in certain areas. It's like, oh, this pubic shaver. It's like, well, they have shavers that are specifically for pubic. Okay. Whatever, and all that. So it's just like, I don't know how mine goes over the boundary and theirs is fine and great, and putting it on national TV ads. I don't get it, but okay, sure.
Yeah, right. They make up the rules as they go along. And I get the
bend them for some, and if you've got $8 million to buy a 30-second commercial, then you can do what you want on there.
Well, it's time to clean your bank account out there, Mitch London, and pay for these things, right?
Yeah, I just start. Where's that $8 million? I had it in my other pocket.
It's probably in your pants pocket for walking around money today. Later,
yeah,
on.
exactly.
So, it's crazy. So you're reasonably convinced, because you've been through the process, that whatever's going on with YouTube and you and your channel, it's all computer based and no human has ever had eyes on it.
I don't think, besides the viewers, I don't think there's a person at YouTube. And I've even heard some people say that when you do an appeal, it would go to an overseas, outsourced company. And, they might have different views on nudity than we do. And what we would say is okay, they may be like, no, that's taboo, we can't show that, and they'll say that's banned. But I don't know about that. It's one that was, I sent it out on Reddit and asking people why this got happened, and then that's what some of the answers I got back was, maybe it got sent out in different countries where nudity is completely a no. It's like, okay, well. But I still think it's just an algorithm that scans, because they basically, when you upload a video to YouTube, before it gets done, it actually searches for commercials, make sure you're not promoting products. It searches for unlicensed music, and I've gotten dinged a couple of times saying, oh, you're using music that belongs to this, and they give you a link. And the funny thing is I actually had to go and look at those links that they sent me, and I said, well, the first one I have a license, and I sent them a copy of it. And the second one was a song that was done by somebody else that the person that they sent me the link to didn't have the rights to. So, it's like, so it's obviously, not a person doing, sitting there all day trying to figure all this out. It's just some computer, and they're going to make mistakes. And I get that. So,
well, we have, we don't say this very often on the naturism show, Naked Nudists and Naturists, because we don't promote this show on it, but we have our own radio station here as well. And to get that, we had to pay for a license through ASCAP and another one through BMI, the two licensing agencies. And we have access to pretty much every song in the world, certainly 95% of them. There are some we'd have to pay an extra fee for. It's just not worth using them.
Right.
Yet, when we put music on YouTube, they ding us every time, and I have to remind them, "Hey, folks, here's our license."
Exactly.
But there's no way to catalog this, I guess, with them, and so it's like every week we're firing back, and okay, we forgot, or I don't say that, but they just say, it's approved. Go ahead.
And again, it's an algorithm, and I guess if you upload them, maybe it just sees that you uploaded something and says, oh, okay, maybe you could upload them a recipe that I made or something and say, here's my license. Oh, okay, great. I don't know. But yeah,
cool.
no, yeah, ASCAP and BMI are the two big ones. And yeah, if you've got that, you've basically got everything. I just use one that I found. It's called, I think, Melody Loops. And it's just, people can upload their own. And I also use one that I've used for years for sound effects called Free Sound.
Okay.
And they're, people can record their own and upload their own, and they're just free sound effects. And some of them are good and some of them are not. But,
right, yeah. You got to take
but
your
for
time
free,
on that.
you can't pick and choose that much. So,
Yeah,
but
no, I agree.
so there's options out there for everybody. But yeah, you went the extra mile and got the BMI and ASCAP. So yeah, that's
That at all, yeah.
Yeah, you're covered. So,
but we still get hit.
Which is
we still get hit every
yeah.
week. Yeah, it's crazy. So before we get back to ANNR, then, if people want to check out your show, This Dude Cooks in the Nude, how do they do all this?
Well, add a .com to that. This dude cooksinthenude.com, and you're there.
Okay.
And you could probably Google it by now. I've been up there for 5 years. I've got my website and I've had that going, and I've even done stuff. Currently, I'm actually doing not via the show, but just via using recipes and such that I've done on the show. I've got articles in the bulletin that I started this year of just some of the recipes that I've done and some of the stories behind them. So some of them are kind of the history of the recipe, where I got it, where I found it, or what it means to me. Why I'm including this. And so each month in the bulletin, there's a section in there called Cooking Naked. That is kind of a picture and a story and a recipe of one of the memorable recipes that I've had. Some are from my mom that she'd collected over the years. Some are some that I just found, and it's a neat little kind of cooking story. And actually, one of the one that was in the latest one was one that I saw in a bulletin back in like 2016 or so that I saw and made up. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole lot easier than what I was doing to make a gumbo. And, I didn't, I remember the first time I did it, I was, just out of college and stirring this stupid roux for 45 minutes over a stovetop. And I'm like, there's got to be something easier. Come on. And, fast forward 15, 20 years, and I see this recipe in the bulletin. I'm like, oh, okay, I can just do this and put it in the oven. And I try that and I'm like, world's better. I didn't have to do it. Yeah, it's one of the best gumbos I've ever had. So,
all right.
But one of the things I added recently to my website was a search thing. So you can basically go in there and search an ingredient or search, a recipe. You don't have to search the whole title. It's like asparagus or something, or lasagna, and it'll pop up, results. So I added that little plug-in, and that I think is helpful. One thing I do want to do, and I meant to do it about 2 years ago. Again, things happen, and then I was going to put all the recipes as a PDF so that people can just print it out instead of trying to copy and paste. Because that's one thing that bugs me when I go to recipes on the web, is they'll give you, okay, here's the recipe, but first let's give you the story that I have behind it. So like, here's a paragraph, here's an ad, paragraph, ad, and then scroll. Okay, there's the recipe finally. It's like, I don't do that stuff. That bugs me, and I usually will just back out and say, I don't care. I don't.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to put, all the recipes as a PDF that people can just print out and just go, and I started doing that. And then my computer died and lost everything. And so I had to start over. Fortunately they were already on the website. So I kind of did what people would have to do, is copy from the website, paste, and then tweak and fix. And then I save it as PDF and I re-upload it. So I want to get all those done again and have that available, because, I think it's nice if you want to copy and print out a recipe, you can just hit go and it'll pop it out instead of having to go through a bunch of ads. That's one thing that I hate, or the ads on the website where you get, and then you get to where you finally go, and then they pop one up right when you're about to click it. Oh, there's an ad in the way.
True. All right. So if they go to thisdudecooksinthenude.com, all of your shows are up there, I'm guessing, all the episodes. And last I checked, you were over 100. That's obviously still the case, right?
120 now, I think. 120.
Baby.
Yeah. So it's, I used to do them like almost every week, and then it just got to be a lot. So I don't know how you and Lisa do this every week. My word, y'all are, juggernauts doing this. And it's not just, oh, I'll just pop out an episode. No, there's work. Right. You got to shoot it. You got to record it. You got to edit it, and add in some little sound effects or whatever, that kind of thing.
Well, we tell people we work 25 hours a day and we don't sleep. That's
well, that
basically
makes it easy then. Yeah. That's easy. I should have thought of that.
Yeah. And this is only a small part of what we do around here. People think it's the only thing. It's not, without getting into all the other stuff that we do in terms of podcasting and radio work and producing and all that good stuff. But
well, you got to keep the grill running and the hot tub,
right.
working order. If you got to call in maintenance to have that fixed,
That's right. It's got to be fixed by Saturday morning. That is
exactly. The people won't come up and visit anymore.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, back to ANNR before we depart here. Mitch London, former president of the American Association for Nude Recreation, currently the secretary treasurer. We talked about the numbers, which I think 2,405, but some of those could be renewals. We don't know. It hasn't been.
I didn't. Again, when I go and do the minutes, I'll find out more about that. But some of the numbers in a lot of the regions went up. They have a goal of 5%. In all regions, which is doable. And a lot of that is we need the regions to help. We need the clubs that are open to help. Because sometimes there are clubs in the north that during the winter they're not open, so it's harder for them to sell when it's 3 degrees outside. And like, why would I be naked? So. But yeah, they want to get the numbers boosted, and the more members that we have, the better we can serve our membership.
Yeah, well, that's definitely positive news, and we've heard for years, ANNR is losing membership, and now we have some news. We've increased, so maybe this is the beginning of a trend. We can certainly hope for the best, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Start bouncing back and get some more people. I've said to people recently that I think a lot of reason that nudity is frowned upon. I don't know if it's necessarily frowned upon, but the internet has made people less willing to be nude, because now you can take a picture of somebody without them knowing it with your cameras, and then you post it on the internet. Whereas back in the 60s and 70s, where people say, "Oh, that was the heyday of nudism," it's like, yeah, you didn't have the internet, so you knew if somebody was probably taking a photograph there, with their family, and they're not just going to post it on the web somewhere. There was no web.
Right.
Well, actually, there technically was, but it wasn't available to the public.
We didn't know about it.
Yeah, it was started at the university in, I think, 1969, if I recall correctly. You can do a whole story on web history, but anyway. But yeah, it's. I think the internet has made people more scared for their safety. Of being outed as a nudist, and so they don't tell people. They don't want to be part of this membership. And it's like, well, that's the reason to be a member, is so that we can protect what we have, because as many people have said, it's easier to keep what you have than it is to try to get it back once you've lost it.
That's very sure.
So
now, wouldn't it be nice if we could flip this some year and say, we took a picture of so-and-so with his clothes on and post that on the internet, and then he'd be shamed. Total opposite.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that should be our ultimate goal. Oh my gosh, did you hear Joe or Bob or Sam had clothes on? What's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
That'd be a great day. Before we go, Mitch London, former president of ANNR, currently the secretary treasurer, what does the future hold for you as it relates to ANNR?
Well, the future is always uncertain. I didn't actually run for the secretary treasurer. I was appointed by the board because the previous one didn't finish the term, and so I got tapped to fill the vacancy. And the previous administration, or the current administration, previously made a change in the ruling document saying that the secretary treasurer can be the same person. And they're not stuck to the 2-year term. They have the 2-year terms, but if there is not somebody found, then they will stay there until a replacement is found. So technically, I don't have to run, and I could be the secretary treasurer forever.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily relish that idea. And the problem is when you're doing a good job, they don't tend to say, no, we don't want you here. But if you're doing a good, when you're doing a good job, they're like, hey, just stick around. You're good. We like that. Yeah. Keep going. So, which is why I tell people, and also though, I always tell people, it's like, hey, it's a position that's open to anybody in the organization, and it's not good to be the same person forever and ever. Because I've done, other clubs, I've done the newsletter for 13 years, and I'm like, A, I'm tired, and B, it's getting repetitive. It's getting to be the same, and it's not new and fresh. And you have to keep it new and fresh. I mean, there's not a lot of new and fresh in taking minutes, but you want to get new people in there, new blood, as it were. And if you run the same people over and over again, I think that stagnates the organization which is why there's term limits for all the other positions and such. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't mind helping. I'm happy to keep going where I can with ANNR. I want it to succeed, and I'll do whatever I can to help that happen.
Yeah. Now, any truth to the rumor that after the Secretary Treasurer before you did not finish his term, any truth to the rumor that people from ANNR drove to Texas, threw you in the trunk and drove you to Kissimmee, Florida, and made you the Secretary Treasurer? Any truth to that rumor at all?
I wondered why it got dark for several hours. I wondered. I couldn't figure that out. Somebody came around with the cloth and chloroform or whatever, kind of like in the cartoons.
Just like just like the movies or the cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of movies.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to talk to you. Always, I don't know how many times we've done this, 3, 4, or 5 times now, but always a pleasure to talk to you. You're a wealth of information on naturism, nudism, clothes-free living, for all the right reasons, as we say, but also a lot more. The film industry, the editing, cooking. You have a lot going on there, Mitch. And it's our pleasure to have you on again. And next year, when you return as a Secretary Treasurer, maybe against your will, maybe not, we'll have you back on again. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
And we won't throw you in the trunk. We'll just have you on.
Oh, good. Well, you're just going to have me working the grill back there, aren't you?
That's right. Grill's going full bore. Somebody has to watch.
I know. Well, maybe I'll bring something special the next time. Maybe I'll cook up a little something special for y'all.
We should bring you on staff. You're the guy who should be running the grill. I'm not really good at it. I'm adequate, but you're good at it. So we'll have you on for that.
Great.
All right. Mitch London, former president of the American Association for Nude Recreation, now the Secretary Treasurer. Mitch London, have a great close-free day. We'll talk again soon.
Great. See ya.
You bet. And that was Mitch London, the former ANNR president, now the Secretary Treasurer of ANNR. And we thank Mitch London for all of his time on these last 2 Saturday shows. And on the next 2 Saturday shows, which will be episodes 185 and 187, our special guest will be podcaster/blogger from New Zealand, Boris Naturi. And before we head for the hills until Wednesday, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
It's good to be back. It wasn't that long ago that I was sitting right here.
Yes, and you're dressed exactly as you were when you left. That's why we let you back in.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I, was able to follow the rules here and be allowed back in the studio. Goodness.
That was definitely a strange show when we did, was it 180?
Oh, yeah.
I'm losing. Yeah, 180 when we had clothes on. I mean, the whole time I felt like, what are we doing here? This is silly. It had to be done, but yeah.
We could have just said we didn't, but the fact was is that we both felt really uncomfortable doing this show with clothes on, so it was really kind of weird. And sometimes we got to do it, and it's not good, but.
Well, that was the first time, and hopefully there won't be a next time. But
no,
it always feels odd to us to have clothes on to begin with, but clothes on doing a naturism show, it's like someone's playing a joke on us. But we made do, and we did okay, I guess.
Yeah, and we made it to Orlando in time, so right. Life is good.
Barely, but we did.
Barely, exactly.
Even though I was starving because of some comment you made on the show about food.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'll forgive you for that.
After the meeting, you took care of that, so you weren't hungry anymore.
We had a great dinner. And Lisa Monroe, the same deal is on the table. If you promise to stay naked as a jaybird until Wednesday's show, we'll get together on Wednesday. How about that?
That sounds wonderful, but you have to promise the same.
I duly hereby swear to promise the same. So we're in this together.
Very good. Very good. We've never made you promise that, so it's about time we did.
That's right. All right. We'll see you on Wednesday.
All righty. Bye.
Bye. Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 183 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.